This is somebody you're reaching out to who caused a lot of pain in your life.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
And that was, and his reason is why I extended my hospitality to him, because of the past.
It was a big moment.
It was
for
a
the both
big
of
issue
you.
then.
I want to kind of focus in what my big remaining question is. There's a big difference between a loan and the happening of a relationship.
Correct.
I bought you sushi. You bought me dinner. Sometimes one person is doing all the buying.
Correct.
But that's part of how the relationship goes.
Correct.
And I see some things in this list that read to me like a loan that was expected to be repaid, like the speeding ticket in particular. That doesn't strike me as the type of thing that, you know, in the day-to-day of a relationship, people that are dating might pay back, because it doesn't really benefit you. It's something he incurred before. But like Jack in the Box at the border.
The reason I'm putting those things on there is because other things had cost me a lot of money that I was not asking to be reimbursed for. Like when I gave him a ride down to the border and had to pay cartel people whatever money I had. You know, that was traumatic for me and Jacob. I had a guy in my car that I did not know, and he's directing me through traffic to get me up to the front of the line, and then says, "Pay me now."
Okay, I understand, but what I'm asking is, if you guys stopped for Jack in the Box at the border, was there really a discussion and an agreement that he was going to pay you back for the full meal, for both of your meals?
Not right then, no, there was not.
All right, Mr. Devereaux, let me ask you this. She didn't have an outstanding obligation, and I understand your decision. You didn't want to stay because of the pressure to pay.
Correct.
But
it wasn't the pressure to pay.
It was the pressure of the relationship.
It was the expectation of intimacy.
Okay.
No.
That is what we're here dealing with.
Okay, Ms. Carr, when you weren't seeing the money back, why did you continue to extend yourself?
I didn't.
Okay, so as soon as he got a job, you stopped loading him these monies?
Yeah, most of the expenses occurred in August, a couple in September.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to my colleague.
I have a quick question. What do you feel you owe the plaintiff?
A debt of gratitude, because I was raised correctly.
Okay.
But something about my mom didn't raise a fool is also true.
All right, I'm good.
Thank you both very much. We're going to excuse you while we deliberate in this matter.
This courtroom is now in recess.
These cases usually boil down to credibility and the application of common sense. Let's first start out whether or not there is an obligation on the part of the defendant to repay loans extended by the plaintiff. I think he's acknowledged that there is a debt. He clarified it as gratitude, but I think in many ways he's admitted that the majority of the monies extended to him were actually extended. I don't think he's disputed any of the actual figures that the plaintiff submitted. And more importantly, if you look at the text messages, the defendant is repeatedly thanking the plaintiff for extending her hospitality to him and acknowledging that he's going to pay back the monies. I think she's owed the $3,000. The defendant should be responsible for it.
I agree that I think some of these amounts were loans. The text messages, unfortunately, don't make clear for what. And I very much believe that he didn't think that the $17 at Jack in the Box was going to be something that was going to be added to his bill.
I think I'm along the lines of what Judge Juarez is saying. I don't think that food necessarily was discussed at the time of purchase that this was going to be a loan. So I think that she definitely is entitled to all the DMV fees and the speeding ticket fees.
Well, let's do it this
car-related
way.
fees.
I have a list here of what she's claiming.
I would basically limit it to the very specific things that I think it's obvious that were not extended as part of their good times together, you know? I would exclude the groceries, the beer, the food.
Yeah, so what does that add up to then?
The phone bill for $130, I would give the rims for $650, the car payment for $535. I would give the car registration for $336. The speeding ticket, the mailbox. I would give him the money she sent him while in Mexico, because he acknowledges that, which is $285. I would give her $2,161 instead of the $3,000.
I would be okay with that.
I still think I would give her more, but for the sake of unanimity in this particular case, I will join you. So it's $2,161, the verdict of the court.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.